Hey Peaches, what's up? Today I am going to be showing you guys what I do for a full coverage foundation routine. This is a lot of makeup on my face right now as far as the foundation goes. I actually really liked how my eyes turned out, so if you guys are interested in seeing a tutorial on that, be sure to give this video a thumbs up so I can do it for you. I know that full coverage and a lot of products like I use in this video is not for everybody, and that's totally fine. If you are someone who just likes a little granola look, that's cool too. I just wanted to show you guys this because this is the routine that I found that I personally really like for myself, for my skin, that lasts the entire day for me. I hope that you guys really like watching it. I'm not going to talk too much at the beginning because I have a feeling this is going to be a long one, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so all I've done at this point is wash my face, I toned it, and then I've moisturized with my St. Ives Timeless Skin Moisturizer. This is one of my favorites, so I just let that soak in for a couple minutes, and then I put some Josie Maran Argan Oil on my lips to get them nice and hydrated. So as far as priming right now, I'm using two different things. I've been using the Monistat Chafing Gel, so this is kind of funny to use as a primer, but I've heard before that this is comparable to the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer, and it is. It's pretty much all of the same ingredients and consistency, so I've been using this, but I have heard also from one of my subscribers that this can kind of break you out. I've been using it for a couple days and I haven't had it break me out this time around, but just something to be aware of if you guys have sensitive skin, just be aware that this can break you out. And then I use my NYX pore filler in this little area because that's where my pores are the largest. So I'm going to start with the Monistat, and I use that pretty much all over my face. And I don't necessarily avoid the part of my face where I'm going to do my pore filler at, but I don't focus a lot of product there either. If I'm looking off to the side a little bit, it's because that's where my camera is, and I have been trying since I changed my room around to get a good setup, and I'm a little confused about how to do it, so you guys will have to bear with me. Okay, so now I'm going in with my pore filler. The consistency of this one is super weird. I always have to like really try to get some product out of here. It's almost like there's too much air in here. And I don't know if it's this product all the time or this little tub, but it's a lot like the Porefessional from Benefit. And I think that it does a very good job. So I'm just focusing that right in this little area right here. And I go ahead and put this under my eyes too, because I feel like if this is filling in my pores, it also is good about filling in under your eyes where you might have any lines or anything like that as well. So I just go ahead and after I get a lot of that laid down, I just like to pat it in. The first thing that I do before I do anything else, I've started to do this in kind of weird steps, but it has helped me achieve the best look. So I start with my Revlon Photoready concealer, and it just comes up like a lipstick, and I just start to put that in the inner corner of my eye, and then right where my dark circle is here, just like that. So I just pretty much leave it right there on that dark circle. I don't take it too much further anywhere else. And you can already see what a big difference. This one is an amazing concealer, and I'll link it down below if you guys are interested in it. I always get my stuff from CVS pretty much, and I think the coverage is amazing. Once I blend out, I kind of am not happy with the brightness of it. Now, if I was doing a foundation where I wasn't focused on full coverage, I might just use this one, but since today I'm doing full coverage, I'm going to go, again, the extra mile. So right now, I'm just going to blend out anywhere where I have the stark line of where I have concealer and where I don't. My favorite brush to use is from Morphe, and it's the E8. One of my subscribers told me about this, and ever since I've gotten it, I have not used anything else around my eyes. So just real gently, we're gonna blend out on our eyelids there, and then down your nose, and then that's pretty much it for this one. Because this is the first thing we've put down, we're gonna have a lot of opportunities to make sure that this is really blended, and right now that's not the main focus. I have a little bit of redness on my lips because I waxed yesterday, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that same concealer and just put a little bit there and on my chin down here. I know some people prefer to do a lot of their concealing after they've done their foundation. This is just what I like to do to make it a little bit more full coverage, because if after my foundation I still see some of the stuff that I want covered up, I can do a second round of it, and I feel like that helps it stay longer all day. Yeah. So now I'm going to use my Morphe M439 foundation brush and my L'Oreal Infallible foundation. You guys know that this is one of my favorites. It's from the drugstore as well, and it's super cheap. I'm in Classic Ivory, which is color 101, and I think that this is the lightest that they carry. The reason I'm using a brush instead of a beauty blender for most of my face is because a beauty blender is really good for shearing out some product, but I find that if you don't use a brush, the coverage is not as full. So again, if I was going for kind of a lighter look, I might use a sponge all over, and I am going to use one a little bit later for underneath my eyes, but for my face I'm using a brush so I can get some extra coverage there. Okay, so that's with foundation, so everything's looking really good so far. Two of the concealers I really liked recently. A subscriber sent me this. This is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in Light, and I have really been liking this one. Also, what I've been using before I got that one is the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer. The reason I like this one so much is it offers a great amount of brightening underneath my eye. I've told you guys before that I will use a white under my eye. I love for that area to be really light and bright. So it's taken me a while to get used to how to use this because this product is a little bit on the thicker side, and that's something that typically I don't like underneath my eyes. But if I take just a little bit of this right at the corner, so you can obviously see that product, but it's really, really light. I'm not using a ton of product here. If you do, it does tend to cake up just a little bit. Then I'm going to take this sponge from Tarte, and again, one of my subscribers sent this to me. She's so sweet. And then I'm just going to start blending that out, and I'm kind of focusing on this part of my eye. I'm not bringing it all the way down yet or all the way up yet. I just want that dark circle right in the corner to be really, really bright. So you can see what a big difference that made in brightening up that area. And again, the reason I'm using a damp beauty blender for this is because I don't want that product to be too cakey anywhere. And if I look at it when I'm finished like this and I decide I need a little bit more coverage, which I feel like I do, it's nice and it looks good, but I'm going to go with a little bit more of the Bye Bye Under Eye. And I'm really making sure to pat into where that's going to want to crease up, so that I get a lot of product coverage there, and then I'm going to immediately set this with my RCMA powder. Okay, so now that we have that done, I'm going to go ahead and set everything with the RCMA powder. I hate the cap on this because it comes out in like a salt shaker type form, so I just take the cap off. I get that same sponge, put it in and turn it over and get some product on the end there. And I'm going to go ahead and set underneath my eye. And I bring that down kind of far to make sure that everything else is really bright. I, for a long time, did not like to bake my makeup. I would see everyone else do it, and I really, really liked how it looked, and I could not figure out what I was doing wrong. One of the things that seems like it's something you should already know, and maybe everybody else does and just not me, but don't dip back in and get a ton of product to set with. Dip it in once and use whatever's on your sponge, which I highly recommend doing that with a damp sponge, not with any type of brush, because that way everything gets in there, and with the damp sponge you're not using too much product and it helps it not cake up anywhere. But just dip it in once and use whatever's on your sponge. Don't go back on and back on and back on, because then you're going to start packing product on instead of letting it be just a sheer layer of that one product. So now for my cheeks, I'm going to go ahead with my Airspun. This is just the translucent. I do have one of these that's full coverage, but that one I feel like is a little heavy to start with on my skin. I might dust with that one, but I'm going to use that same sponge again. I'm just going to use the other side of it, and then I'm going to set my face makeup. And I'm going to make sure to get this little line right here where the RCMA powder meets the rest of it, so that you don't have an awkward shelf. So I am going to show you guys how I've been doing my brows recently. I really, really like this process and how they've been looking. I know that everybody's so particular about their brows. I go in phases of really liking for them to be bold, really liking for them to be really light, and right now this is how I'm liking them. So I hope that you guys enjoy this. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so that you can see how I've been doing this. So the first thing that I start with actually seems a little weird, but it's a concealer to carve out the shape that I want my brows to be that day. So I'm going to be using this Anastasia Beverly Hills concealer. This is in 1.0, which I think is light. I don't know. I'm just going to use this concealer brush. This one's from e.l.f. and getting just a little bit of this product because this is a super thick concealer. And I'm just going to start getting that shape just the way that I want it. Which eyebrow is your favorite? I always feel like this one does so much better for me. Okay, so we're gonna leave that like that. Now I'm gonna go on with my Anastasia dip brow. This one is in dark brown. And I'm just gonna get an angled brush. This one is from Morphe as well. Focus. This one doesn't have a number, but it's pretty basic, just an angled brush. I feel like the skinnier brush you can find for this, the better. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and make the shape of my brows a little bit more enhanced, and I like for this line under here to be pretty sharp. And I'm gonna go ahead and make my line up here. I'm not gonna fill in with this though. That's one of the things I've been doing different that I've really been liking. I've just been making the outline with this. And I don't take it all the way in right here on the top either. I just get right about here and then I go ahead and stop. But I do take it all the way in underneath. So after I do that, I take my Morphe brow palette. This seems like it's like all Morphe products, but this is what I do every day. And then I actually take this darkest color here, which is something again new that I've been doing. I just use the same brush and I get some powder on it. And then I just start over towards kind of the middle to the end. I feel like if you start with your product about right here, it's easier if you use too much to blend out either way. And I just start filling it in like that. I haven't been the biggest fan of brow powder, and I figured out that's because I've never used the right shade. I always try to get a brown, like a really dark brown. This one I don't think is necessarily black, but it's definitely close, and my brows are dark enough that this is what looks the best. So after I have about that much done, I haven't touched up here. I'm going to go ahead and get the excess off of my brush, and then I'm just going to start blending towards the front, but I want the front to be super, super faint. So I'm just going over that same spot to make it kind of look faded. And then over here in the front, I don't have any product on here. I'm just using whatever might be left over to make the shape in the front here. And I make sure to kind of push back this way on my brow to make sure that that product gets everywhere up here, but that again it looks kind of faded. So just about like that, I'm going to go ahead and do the other one, so again you guys can watch me do it a second time. So now I'm going to go back in with that brush and just clean up anywhere that I want to be a little bit sharper. Like I always like my tail over here to be just a touch sharper. And then I'm going to blend out the rest of my concealer. So now I'm going back in with my Airspun powder to go ahead and set up here and around my brows. Then I'm going to go ahead and do any eyeshadow that I want to do, which is probably just going to be something light unless I change my mind midway through. And then I'm going to come back and show you guys what I do for the rest of my face. Okay, and we're back. So my eyes are finished. So now I'm just going to take a big fluffy brush. This one's from Mary Kay. And get rid of all of that powder that we have been baking with. And I'm always super careful underneath my eyes to get rid of the excess, but not to drag off any of my concealer that I've put down. So now I'm going to take my Ben Nye neutral set. So this is just a white powder and another little beauty blender. This one is not damp though. I'm going to do the same thing about sticking it in the top there. And then I'm just going to carve out where I would like my contour to be. And I do this to have a really nice sharp contour. And I just like to go ahead and put a little bit of that on my chin as well. Now I'm going to bronze with my Hoola Benefit bronzer, and I'm actually just going to carve out my cheek here. I do a really weird process on this because the blush that I use is a blushing bronzer from Too Faced. So I just start with my Hoola. I'm using a contour brush, again from Morphe, doesn't have a number. And I'm just going to start right above where I put that line, getting a nice little contour. And then I just take that up the sides of my temples, not a lot because then I'm going to take my blushing bronzer there as well, but I'm just making sure that that little C all is the same color. Then I just like to take the brush that comes with it and get a little bit of product on it to chisel out my nose a little bit. Now I'm going to use a blush brush from Morphe again. Like everything I'm using today is Morphe. Totally accidental. But this is my Too Faced blushing bronzer. It is in Pink Leopard. I tell you guys all the time this is one of my favorites. It just looks like this, so it has quite a bit of bronzing and a little bit of a shimmery type color in it, and then it has the pink for your blush. I'm going to get some of that on my brush here, and then I'm just going to start meeting these two colors here with that. And again, I am taking this up, and I like to bronze around my forehead with this as well, just because the pink that's added in there really makes this look a lot more natural than using a brown up here for my particular skin tone. So if you're someone who likes to highlight, which sometimes I do, I like the ColourPop highlighters a lot. This is in Smoke and Whistles, and I actually like to use a little itty foundation brush for this. This is from e.l.f., and I like to go right above my blush. And I take just a little down my nose as well. Okay, and that completes my entire foundation routine for full face, full coverage. I hope that you guys really enjoyed this. I had so much fun filming it today. And if you guys want a tutorial on my eyes, like I said, give this video a thumbs up so I know that you are interested in that. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and be sure to leave down below what you're interested in seeing for my next video so I can film it for you. If you're not already subscribed, be sure to do so before you leave so you can be a part of the Peach family. I am Mama Peach, and I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in just a couple days. Bye.